Welcome, baseball fans, to this edition of State of MLB. Today, we'll be covering Game 5 of the World Series, Houston Astros at Washington Nationals. Welcome to the unprecedented. No World Series has ever gone this deep with the road team winning every single game. This also sets up a situation where you're heading back to Houston now, and should things continue on this pace, that puts Washington winning Games 6 and 7 theoretically in Houston, just like they won Games 1 and 2, which takes a whole home field advantage and flips it on its head. It's been quite a series, and it's been extremely exciting to watch. In this game, you have Gerrit starting for Houston, and a late scratch was Max Scherzer complaining of neck pains, being a late scratch. So Joe Ross comes in to do a Game 5 start. Now, you could chalk it up to he did the best he could. But here's the thing. You don't need a best you could. This wasn't even a quality start. Quality start being 6 innings, 3 runs or less. He goes 5 innings, 5.14 ERA, 4 earned runs allowed, and 1 strikeout. Not a quality start, by definition. And by performance, he did the best he could. But you're going up against Gerrit Cole, who's going to be a free agent this offseason and has already made it very clear to the media at large he wants to return home to the West Coast and get the best deal he can, presumably from the Angels or the Dodgers. Therefore, this could very likely be his swan song with the Astros, his final performance in an Astros uniform. Now, could he come back in Game 7 if it came that far? Anything is possible. But he made it very clear in post-game interviews that he just completely and utterly emptied the tank and left everything on the field, pretty much expecting this is going to be his last start in an Astros uniform. And if that is the case, I wish him all the best and all the luck in the world wherever he lands next. He has certainly performed far better with the Houston Astros than he ever did prior to the Astros. He was a good pitcher with the Pirates. He was a better pitcher with the Astros. You never know. Is he going to be the next Jared Weaver in LA? Is he going to be the next Clayton Kershaw in New York in the Dodgers? We'll see. Either way, for the purposes of the World Series, he did an absolutely lights-out, phenomenal job, as we've come to expect this entire postseason. He goes 110 pitches, goes 7 strong innings, 3.86 ERA, and yeah, take that with a grain of salt, because he only gives up 1 earned run, but he strikes out 9 batters. 9. So part of that 3.86 is a carryover from his Game 1 less than perfect start against Max Scherzer where he got bested. So that's a little bit of a carryover there, but outside of the ERA, 1 earned run and 9 strikeouts over 7 innings, you can't ask for anything better. Maybe if he had the energy left in him, going a full 9 innings would wow and phenom all Astros fans. But at the same time, with a 7-1 final score, you didn't need him to go 9 innings. He gave you 7. He saved the bullpen. It was a phenomenal job. Speaking of the bullpen, Smith and Presley combined for 2 innings, 0 earned runs, and 2 strikeouts. Much like the majority of the Washington bullpen, Randy Doolin and Sororo being the final pitcher, but Hudson came before him, and he's a separate line item. Those 3 combined for 2 and 1/3 innings pitched, 0 earned runs. So most of Washington's bullpen and the 2 that came in for Houston lights out everything you expect out of bullpen. Where the bullpen fell a little bit was Hudson going 1 2/3 innings, giving up 3 earned runs, and only getting a couple of strikeouts. It was damage that put the game so far out of reach, it was just done when Hudson gave up the 3 runs. at the same time, I wouldn't say that was the nail in the coffin. What the nail in the coffin was the fact that off of Joe Ross, in the second inning, Alvarez, 2-run bomb. Fourth inning, Correa, 2-run bomb. 4-0 lead with Ross still on the mound behind a lights-out Gerrit Cole. That in and of itself, with the way Cole was pitching, is enough to drive it back home to Houston with a 3-2 lead. And that's exactly what they did. Now, just to add pleasure to the pain, for lack of a better term, Gerrit gets a single, drives another run, goes 5-1, and then in the ninth inning, Springer tacks on some good old-fashioned home run power, 2-run bomb, 7-1 Astros. Now, in the seventh inning, Soto tries to rally the Nationals back into this game, getting a solo shot to bring it 1-4. You're within 3 runs, and if anybody else but Cole's on the mound, I would think it would be legitimately possible for the Nationals bats to find a way back into this game. Short of maybe Verlander, I think that might be taller too. But unlike Cole, Verlander has shown at different times vulnerability. Cole hasn't. Thus, he deserves all the credit in the world. Hats off, claps, everything. A round of applause for his swan song. If he was going to go out on his own terms, he definitely gave the Astros everything they could possibly ask for him, especially rebounding from the Game 1 loss to Scherzer. We didn't do a bad performance, he just got bested. Comes in and just was almost just shy of perfect. I mean, it was a phenomenal job. So, that brings us to a situation where they swept in Washington the same way Washington swept in Houston, gives Houston a 3-2 series lead. And now we go back to Houston, where you have the Strasburg versus Verlander duel in Game 6 in Houston. Now, I remember telling you guys at the beginning of the series preview that I felt that Verlander and Cole were going to go 1-1 in their starts. They're going to lose one, win one. Well, guess what? They both lost their first starts, and Cole definitely rebounded his second start. That, by chance, puts you up with Verlander getting a rebound performance and shutting it out in Game 6. However, given the precedence of the way this series is going, and the way so many analysts have been so far off on how I'm predicting this series, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I think Strasburg saves the series for Washington Game 6. They go back to Houston, and they turn the tables right back around on Houston. Strasburg outduels Verlander, and there will be a Game 7. That's what I'm predicting. Regardless of how Game 6 ends up, my bet is that this goes to Game 7, and whether Washington or Houston wins Game 7, it gets there. It gets to that final winner-take-all Game 7 showdown, where you would have Greinke for Houston versus Anibal Sanchez for Washington, with the possibility of maybe Max Scherzer coming out of the bullpen to provide some late-inning dominance. That all remains to be seen, and right now it's all speculation. The only thing guaranteed is you've got a Game 6 Strasburg versus Verlander in Minute Maid Park. And that in of itself I am projecting is going to be quite the pitcher's duel. And based upon the way our bullpens have done, there are very few weaknesses on either team's pitching staff. If you can get to the starter, then you have a far better chance of closing out the game. Because if you're banking on getting that starter out of the game and going down that bullpen, both teams have shown that's easier said than done. Now, both teams in different games have shown weaknesses. Both in the Washington home games, their bullpen has shown some weaknesses, and Houston has shown some weaknesses. So it really depends on how you use the players and how you use your lineup. That whole para coming in to replace the pitcher late in the innings, trying to rally Washington, and him having that Baby Shark theme song, getting all the crowd into it. That was wonderful entertainment. Unfortunately, his performance as a reserve player never really panned out. You got some walks and some strikeouts. Not exactly a show-stopping home run performance to really rally the Nationals. At the same time, it was a great show. It was great entertainment for the crowd to be able to bring him in when you're in the pitcher spot and bring in that Baby Shark theme and have a whole lot of fun with that. It's one of those things where it would have been more effective if Washington had actually been able to rally and use that as a rallying cry to catapult themselves into a game here. Unfortunately, they ended up going 3-0 at Washington, and now we return back to Houston. So let me all know what you think about what I think. Do you think that Houston closes out the series in Game 6 in Minute Maid Park, or does Washington force a Game 7 winner-take-all showdown between Verlander and Sanchez? Let me know what you think about what I think in the comment section below. If you just happen to be coming across this video in YouTube, please hit like and subscribe. It greatly helps the channel. And as always, thank you for watching.